What's up, everyone? We're going to do another walkthrough of one of the presets in Massive X, so we can both learn how to use Massive X better. Feel free to follow along if you're on your computer. But today I'm going to recreate the Crown Alloy. This is in the best of category of Massive X, and it sounds like this. So it has this like metallic, almost like ethnic type of vibe to it. So I have my own initialized Massive X session right here, and we're gonna just go through panel by panel. If modulation is needed, then I'll do that right away as I'm going through the panels. But I will try to play it as I go, as I change things, just to see how it affects it. And if I do know what something is, I'll explain it. If I don't, I'll say that, and maybe we'll look it up. We will see. Depends on how long this video is going to be. So first and foremost, the pitch panel, it does not look like there are any changes here. So we are not going to worry about that. But it does look like when we get to the oscillation panel, we do need to modulate the pitch. It looks like it's basically just kind of detuned a little bit from an octave up, because 12 semitones would be an octave, and it's at 12, so that gives us this. And then it looks like it's using the same oscillator, but it's all the way down to sine. And the volume is much lower. It's at about 34%. Okay. Nothing with any modulation here. Nothing with the filter or the phase. It is sending it to the phase modulator, the first phase modulator here. So we'll turn that on. And it looks like it's basing the phase modulation on a ratio, which I'm not 100% sure what this does. It looks like key tracking can affect certain things with it. Ratio must be some other algorithm. But basically, phase modulation is it's taking this waveform right here, and it's just modulating the phase, so probably pretty much this knob right here, based on this waveform. As opposed to like frequency modulation would be using this waveform to modulate the frequency of this waveform. So just a little bit of a different technique on what is being modulated, frequency versus phase. So change this to the right waveform, and then the ratio is really, really small. And then by default, this is at about 29.4%. Put that there. And then it looks like we have an LFO, a random LFO, that is slowly modulating this. So we're going to drag LFO 5 here, and we're going to turn it up to that, and that does this. Interesting. And then while we're down here, we're also going to set up the phase 2 modulation in the aux. So aux is controlled by macro 4. So there's that. And then macro 1 is controlling the phase modulation of this guy. And then neither of them are really set to anything. It looks like they're both at 0. So we have that set up, and then now we need to set up our second oscillator up here. I'm just going to turn aux. Well, actually, let's do this one step at a time. So this is under, it looks like probably operators, Syn Imp. There we go. And it's turned all the way down. And let's get the volume of that up. Already getting some kind of neat sounds from this. Like I could already see just using that as a synth. And then it looks like it's using the first macro to modulate that a little bit, and then the aftertouch is what this is. I just learned that. I do not have aftertouch on my keyboard, so this isn't going to do anything, but for the sake of setting it up the same. Looks like we have to change the pitch. So interestingly, this is kind of a similar thing. It brings it up an octave, but it detunes it slightly. Cool. And then we send it to the aux and PM2. No filter, no phase, and there's nothing over here, which I don't, to be completely honest, don't really know what that does. And then... Okay. So I don't think there's anything else to do in the... I guess this is technically the wavetable panel. So let's move on to the next panel, which is the noise panel. It looks like we are using these two. I'm gonna... So it looks like there's the mod wheel and macro 6 both are affecting this. Let's see, macro 6 is on the left. The mod wheel is on the right. Okay. And by default, macro 6 is at 0. So really we won't hear a difference. If we were to turn this up, we would. Okay. And then this, the second noise generator, 65.3, is what is called lost, which is under environment loss. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, that's not really even like typical noise. It's like just almost like a soundscape type of thing. And then the pitch goes down to 13 minus 13.4. That's probably where we're getting some of our metallic noise from. And then we're going to use, I believe this is the filter panel. It looks like it's using a comb filter, which I cannot explain to you right now, but maybe in a future video I will. So it has it about at 12 o'clock here. It does have whatever this is turned on. It has it flipped to minus instead of plus. And then this is doing this. And then we should probably not skip over all this stuff up here too. Okay, so it looks like it's an octave up and then brought down a few semitones or a few cents. And then it looks like envelope 3 is modulating this. So let's drag this up here and get it. It looks like it's going down instead of up, so it's an inverse relationship. And then envelope 3, what is it doing? Oh, it's an exciter envelope. I don't know what that does. Wish there was a way to just like bypass, so I could like toggle it on and off. I guess you can at the comb filter level. So far, It's like adding a little bit of like clickiness. That's probably the exciter envelope. So like if I were to take that off, it is adding a little bit of click to it. Moving on, we're down here, and the LP frequency needs to be turned down, so let's turn that down. So it's like there's a little bit of click still, but it's lost some of its higher frequencies. And then it looks like we have macro 2 on that guy. Not doing a whole lot. Oh. Where did we set up? Macro 3 is turned all the way up. So let's turn that all the way up now. And then it looks like LFO 6 is another random LFO, and that is modulating this just a hair. And then it looks like it's whatever this audio noise is, and no jitters. The rate is turned down to about 1.62 kilohertz. Loop MIDI mono, no. Buy, LFO, delay, fall, rise. I think we have all that set up correctly now. So let's see what that sounds like. I don't really hear a lot of difference. Oh, and rate's turned on too. It is super cool sounding though. Okay, let's move on to the first effects panel here. So we have this. I have no idea what this is, so let's just listen. It's doing something interesting to it. I don't know if it's like a filter type of thing. Oh, and the mix is turned down. Okay. Have to look up what that Anima does, and then turn the utility on, and it looks like it has a low pass 1 and high pass 1 turned on, where low pass 1 is turned down just slightly, high pass is turned down quite a bit. And then the curve is... Not really sure what the range or curve does. Have to look that up later. And then it looks like 6 is affecting the level inversely, and also affecting this right here, like so, and then the mod wheel is doing something to this as well. Cool. And I believe that's everything with that one, and then we need to hop to this C, effect C. RM is ring mod. Give some really weird sounds. And I guess it starts at 0, so it's actually not, it's just mixed in when you change the macros. Okay, moving on to the amplitude panel. The level is turned way down, interestingly enough. And then it looks like, I don't know if this is feedback or what this is, but it has an envelope on it, and it has that turned on, whatever the heck that is. And then let's see, what does envelope 7 look like? Okay, so very different. The shape, so that looks like it just kind of affects how quickly it dips down to the sustain. The sustain is very low. It's so quiet. I assume we're going to get that volume back somewhere. And then envelope level, velocity. I believe this is like a key tracking type of thing, or a velocity tracking type of thing. Delay is a little bit longer. And the release is very short. I think that's everything for that. Moving on to the next panel, we have, for the first one, we have a stereo expander. Probably a little bit easier to hear in headphones. It does spread it a little bit. And then we have a phaser. Ooh, listen to that. I don't know what any of these things are, but we're gonna set it up to be exactly the same. And then it looks like this is switched. That's cool. Ooh. Why does that say 551 hertz, but it looks like it's... I'm going to just dial it in like that. And then the default for this is here, and then we need to set up... These are trackers. I think you can track it to different things like note pitch and velocity and all that junk. Looks like they just have note pitch. And let's just make sure this is all set up correctly. Yeah, they didn't do really anything fancy with that. So I believe the way this works is the higher up the keyboard we go in pitch, the more it will modulate it. So the frequencies will come out more, the higher frequencies will come out more the higher we go. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's doing. And the lower we go, the more it rolls it off. So like right around there, no whatever it's doing, it's just right down the center, and then as we go up, it starts to turn those knobs up. Okay, so phaser, and then we have another phaser, because why not? And that's set up to be whatever this... I'm assuming this is some kind of algorithm, parallel neutral. The feedback gets turned down. The mix gets turned way down. The frequency of the phaser goes way up. The rate goes way up. Did we set the right? Okay. Triangle, and then that. It's not doing a lot, I don't think. Okay. That's the effects panel. Somehow that's going to turn into this. Not really sure how yet. It could be something with the routing. The routing can have a pretty significant impact. The only other thing is it looks like this VR is getting used somewhere because it's lit up, but I'm not sure. Let's go through each of these panels really quick again. I'm not seeing it. Is it in one of the envelopes down here? Ah, there we go. Missed that earlier. So, well, for one, envelope 2 is supposed to be used somewhere, and it's not yet. So we're going to have to figure out where that got used. But the exciter, or this is some kind of like random, pseudo-random thing. So it's supposed to affect something with the exciter envelope. And if you remember, I think that gave it a little bit more of like a click. Oh, we totally have some work to do down here on these envelopes. So the amp envelope isn't even set up correctly yet. So I guess that controls that, and this controls the release, and we'll turn the release up here to be approximately that. It looks like the sustain volume is lower. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much it. And then we have another exciter envelope. I guess it's whatever this is. And the ratio is all the way up. The hold is all the way down. And then we got to figure out where the heck envelope 2 is being used. I wish it's supposed to highlight it, but I don't know. I feel like it should just kind of jump out at me. It's blue. I know I've had some times in the past where things are kind of hidden behind some of these panels, so it can be sometimes tricky to see them. Where are you used? You're not showing up anywhere. Do not see you. Let's move on to, maybe it's under here? Nope. Oh. I've never seen that before, where the E2 is on the is down here. Okay. Go to the voice panel. This, I guess, is transposed 12 semitones down. I think all of this looks good. And then we're on to the routing, which is the fun part. So a lot is probably going to have to change here to get it to sound. So I'm just going to take out all of these connections. Okay. And those are too close together. Okay. So from left to right, noise is going into the comb filter. And so is mod 1. I don't know what this is. Where does mod... Maybe... Oh, it's probably just a way to modulate something with the input of this. Like it modulates the overall signal. Although I don't know what exactly in this panel it would be modulating. But it must be just a way for you to like just inject modulation into like within the routing of things. I might have to look that up later, but it looks like it's that feedback loop is going in there, and oscillator 2 is also going into the comb filter, but oscillator 1 is not, so that might explain some stuff. And we're getting no noise because we don't have anything routed to the output here. So put the comb filter there. That's going into this plugin. And so yeah, a lot of these things are in parallel. They're not in serial like they were defaulted to. That's why we're probably getting such a drastic difference in sound. Just so we can get some sound, I'm gonna get this routed. So that's where we're at right now, and this is set up to be this algorithm. Ooh, like I mean, like listen to how much that changes it. Just the routing of the effects, like that's significantly closer to the end result. This goes into a feedback. The oscillator goes into the feedback, and this goes straight into the phaser, so it doesn't even get the stereo expander. Wow. And then noise 2 goes into the pulse modulation, which doesn't even get sent to the output. I don't understand that. Like, does this do anything? Huh. I think that's everything, so let's see how close it is. Mine has a little bit more brightness to it, so there's probably a few things that are just slightly off, but hopefully you learned something. You know, I'm a firm believer that just by doing and going through things, like obviously you got to look up the manual too and learn from the manual, which I have up here, but sometimes just playing around and figuring out what things are doing is a great way to learn, and that's kind of my philosophy here, is just spend 20 to 30 minutes a day trying to recreate or play with this to see what I can learn and glean from it. And hopefully as time goes on, that'll all stack up into really thoroughly understanding every facet of this and being able to generate my own sounds that I hear in my head. Anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for another video soon.